You're listening to the 1 Minute Writing Tip, a podcast that gives you tips on how to overcome writer's block, overwhelm, and self-doubt, learn how to accomplish your God-given book idea, even if you're a busy mompreneur, confidently publish to bestseller, and use your book as a tool for impact and for purpose. We have a variety of episodes with interviews from best-selling authors in the industry, experts who have tools and tricks to help you succeed, and of course, recommendations from me, your host, Caitlin Silva. You can find even more resources on wewritebooks.com, where you can also take advantage of your complimentary bestseller assessment to get a step-by-step roadmap to accomplish your bestseller and beyond. So let's get into today's episode. Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the 1 Minute Writing Tip podcast. I am super excited. I've got another guest on today. I'm speaking to Jackie Walker, who is a retired Navy and Army veteran. She's an inspirational speaker. She's the author of Air Assault School, Walking in Her Boots, which is all about how she has overcome the challenges and learned how to navigate, which is amazing. She's a virtual event host and the leader of a specific journaling event, which is teaching a type of neurographic art and what that's done for her and helping you to do that for yourself as well through a process of 30 days of journaling and drawing your way to implementing healthier eating habits so you can eat in the best way for your life. So Jackie, thank you so much for joining me. It's so great to have you.
Thank you for having me, and it's so nice to see you and your guest and your audience.
So please let's just get right into it. And I would love to hear more about your journey and how you got to where you are today with this virtual event and with authoring your book all the way back from where you started in just getting into the Navy and the Army. What was that like?
Oh wow, getting into the Navy and the Army. Okay, so
just the journey, from like how did that launch you from being in that place to okay, now you've written a book and you're doing this event. Like how did that lead to this?
Yeah, it's fun. So right out of high school, back in the early 80s, there was a movie called Private Benjamin, and it was with Goldie Hawn. And basically it was the US Army advertising for women to join the Army. Well, it worked on me, and I joined the Army right out of high school. So at 18, I was in Hawaii. And I was very active, trained for the Honolulu Marathon, did a 10-man, and just ran all the time because we always had to run. And I was very active, and I was from Maine, and we played in the woods. So when the opportunity to go through Air Assault School, which was a training that was geared solely for men at the time, because that was combat training, and at that time, women were not allowed in combat. But they were letting women take the training. They were letting us. And so I said, oh, I think I want to do that. And I was told right away, oh, you'll never pass. You'll never get through. You won't even get through qualification. So long story short, there's a book about it. And then I got out of the Army, and I got married, had 5 children, raised my 5 children. And then I went in the Navy 17 years later after 9/11. I wanted to go back in, and I did, and I've since retired from the Navy, and now I have a lot of enthusiasm over motivating and inspiring others to do hard things. And at the age of 59, my health had gotten out of control because I didn't have the weight requirements hanging over my head from the military, and so my eating got out of control. And I gained quite a bit of weight. And then I was looking at high blood pressure medication and other medications. My father had recently passed away from heart disease. So I said, I got to do something. And so I implemented intentional eating habits. And what that did for me is I lost 38 pounds and 10 inches around the waist. And I learned so much through my intense study about what the body does when we eat. I said, that's it, I got to tell people. And that's when I started telling everyone. Well, I've since started a event hosting from that. That turned into hosting events, virtual events, because that's kind of what I did in the Navy for the senior leadership. I was the event coordinator as the protocol officer. So that's how I got here. Long story, and hopefully it didn't put anyone to sleep.
No, I think it's absolutely fascinating. And I just love how you had that drive of if you tell me I can't, it's kind of like watch me, like I'll prove to you that I can. And I love that so much because I think so many times it's relatable for many different walks of life that you have this desire for something within you. And even you feel like you're supposed to do it, or it's a calling, or it's a purpose, or something like that. And then everybody else likes to come along and tell you all the reasons why you can't. It's like all the naysayers and all the doubters, and even people that have good intentions, like they love you and they care about you and they don't want you to get hurt or something like that, and they're just like, oh well, don't get your hopes too high, or they'll just say things that in their mind it sounds like they're trying to help you, but actually for you it's very discouraging. And at the same time, I think it's so important to hear stories from people who overcame and they did it anyways, and how that's shaped their lives. And so that's really fascinating and encouraging hearing your story. And so it makes me just like all the more excited about talking about your book and what you're doing with the eating habits. It sounds like you have been able to take those lessons you learned younger in life, navigating through and overcoming and doing the things, into this journey with the eating habits and what you're teaching your people. And that's just a unique combination too, because I truly believe that every person has unique, experiences and perspectives and things in their life that contribute to their story and their message and the lessons that they have to offer in a way that nobody else can. Like I
I
certainly
agree.
couldn't talk about a military background. And so, and I just love that so much. So share with me just a little bit more about the book that you wrote about air assault school. And what was that journey for you that inspired you to write the book and to share that experience for you? And what is that lesson you really want your reader to take away from it?
Sure. In 2016, I was stationed in Bahrain, so I was in the Middle East, and I was missing my grandchildren, and I was trying to find a way where I could pass down my stories to them. So I said, maybe I should write a book. And at the time, I had a YouTube channel, and I said, I know what, I'll write a book in 30 days, and I'll document it on my channel. And that's kind of what I did. So I got it published through online. At the time, it was kind of new. It was where you could, it's kind of like where you just get it in the right format now for KDP. You get it in the right format in order to be able to upload it. It's great once you put it on computer, but it's got to be in a specific format to upload it. So I had help with that, but other than that, I did everything, and they did the cover when I sent them some pictures. And so I had a book that I could give my grandchildren. And then I was like, oh, I got a book. That's kind of cool. And yeah, so that's how that happened. And then I wrote another one, and I have another one, and then I did the journal.
Wow, wow, that's amazing. I love that you just kind of just went after it, and it was for all the right reasons. It was just like a fun thing, but then it's kind of turned into something that is more of like how it shaped your life afterward, and what kind of opened up the possibilities for you. And I think that so many times that is kind of the thing that happens is whenever you're stuck in, I just don't know how to go about it, or I'm self-doubting or listening to all the naysayers or whatever, it's so easy to get stuck in that place of like, oh, I can't write a book, or I can't do this, or I can't do that. Then whenever you do it and you overcome that, it's like, well, look at all the things I can do. So it's so great. And I love that you're sharing that you have a couple more. So share with me a little bit more. Like, what are these other books that you have?
Well, I said, well, I once I did this one, this is kind of after the Private Benjamin. And so I said, well, I should probably tell them about how I became Private Dickens, not Private Benjamin. So I put that one together, and I raised 5 children as a single parent. So I wrote a book about that, but it hasn't been uploaded yet. And then the journaling event that I do, this is the journal. And then there's also an eating strategy journal for those that are trying to implement healthier eating habits. So once you know how to do the book, then, and that's what I did with these two. These two were recent since I've started doing the eating, helping people with adopting healthier eating habits. Once, because I knew how to do the book from before when I had written them with my grandchildren in mind, I said, well, I could just put a journal together and that would help. And it is, it's helped me get this virtual event up and running. It's my very first one. I've got 21 speakers, and it's on menopause, which is something that a lot of people don't talk about. And it's really popular. There's a lot of buzz right now, and people are getting a lot of good information. So I think just having the goal in front of you, keep it in front of you, and keep taking those steps toward what you're going after, you will get there if you just stay focused and keep going, just like you with your podcast, right? You had to
Yeah,
start it.
absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. And that's absolutely incredible. I love that it started out as just sharing your story and giving your kids this gift or your grandkids this gift, this kind of legacy. And then it led to, oh wow, like I can really use this to share a message and to help people and to really start to grow in a different direction. And I love that so much. So as you have, seeing this start to grow in the event and talking about these eating habits and seeing people going through this journey, you just shared an amazing tip about how you just keep taking one step at a time toward the goal. I think that's so on point because it takes away the pressure and the overwhelm. It's like, okay, I don't have to focus on 30 steps down the road. I'm just
Yeah.
going to focus on my one step right now today in front of me. And I love that so much. So, what would be any other kind of tips or suggestions that you would give for aspiring authors who are wanting to pursue this book that they have, but they've just been discouraged or stuck or not sure what steps to take or anything like that through the process?
Yeah, I would just repeat what you just said. You don't want to look too far ahead, because too far ahead will throw you into overwhelm. And overwhelm is a choice. You can choose to stay there, or you can choose to say, no, I'm going to look at what my next step is, and then I'm going to work on that step. And then after I get that step done, then I will work on the next step. And you can know a couple steps down the road, but you don't focus on them. You focus on, what do I have to do now? Because someone can tell you how to do it. Oh, this is how you do it. You do this and you do this and you do this. But in the end, you're the one that has to do it. And you got to start in order to get there. And when you start and you take that first step and focus on that step, just keep going and you'll get there. That's my
Yep.
motto.
I love it. I love it. That's amazing. I love that you said overwhelm is a choice. I think human beings by nature, when we're in stressful situations and we're feeling overwhelmed, we kind of go into that like fight or flight instinct of like, I just want to get out of the situation, and it's so important to realize, oh, I can choose differently. I can take a deep breath. I can shift my thinking and my focus and just ask myself that question of what is that immediate next thing? What is that one thing that I can do right now? So I just absolutely love your emphasis there. I think it's such a good point that, you know, it's just it's just shifting that perspective of big, huge thing to nope, it doesn't have to be. It's just breaking it down. So that's so beautiful. So
I get
go ahead.
overwhelmed. So I understand. I'm not saying overwhelm isn't real. It is real, but you don't have to stay there. And when I get overwhelmed, what I'll say is, I'm going to go draw it out. And then I just focus on what it is I want to do. And I draw about doing what it is that I want to do. And if I come to a block, that's definitely where I go and I draw it out. And I can give you an example of that if you'd like.
Yeah, by all means. Yeah. So go ahead.
Yeah, I didn't want to cut you off because it looked like you were starting, but I have a quick example. I had the event, it was starting, right? And it's called Resilience Beyond Menopause Forum. And our brains recognize shapes. And I had to get some emails out. And I wasn't used to this new platform. So I said, that's it, I'm going to go draw it out, because I kept having resistance. I kept not doing it. And so I just focused. You focus on rounding all the corners and thinking about, I'm going to get these emails out. I'm going to figure this out. I'm going to learn this. It's going to come together. I'm going to, and you keep drawing and drawing and drawing. Eventually that stress level starts going and you're drawing and drawing. And then when your brain sees that picture, it says, oh yeah, I got it. I'll help you. I got it. And then all the brain starts working toward that same focus instead of letting our mind go off and, oh, I can't do this. I don't know how to do this. How will I do this? I don't know how to do this. Who can help me? Who can do this? Instead of going there, you just, I'm going to learn how to do this. I watched the video. The video will show me. They told me how to do it. Now I'll do it. And when you see the difference between and that's the difference of allowing yourself to stay in overwhelm or bringing it all together with that next step.
Mm. Yeah, I love that example. Thank you for sharing that. It's such a beautiful illustration of another facet of, I mean, because you're talking about drawing. One of the things that I often emphasize is writing it out, which is kind of like you said earlier, like kind of the left brain and right brain a little bit more. And I think you have to understand what is going to work for you, like your strengths and weaknesses. And so that is so much what a lot of times writers do is they just have all of their ideas as this jumble in their mind, and they're trying to write from that place of like, well, I just need to write it all out on the paper. And it's like, well, hold on, because first you need to get your mind unjumbled. You have to get it into a concrete place right in front of you, like you said, that's visual, where you can look at it and you can see what you're working with, and you can make those organization decisions about where is this going to go, and how is it going to flow, and what do I need to focus on first, and also it clears up space in your mind for your brain to stop holding on to all the ideas and all of the things that you have to do and all the whatever, and instead it's like, oh, now your brain can breathe, and your brain can be like, oh, I can shift, and I can work on these new things, and I can make new decisions. And so it just clears up clutter in your mind as well. And so I think that that's such a really important example that you just shared, because it just speaks to so many different aspects of the way your brain works in the process, and helping you to just get something accomplished. So I absolutely love that so much. So as you've continued to implement this for yourself, and you are doing this event, and you're walking people through the journal, and you're really growing the strengths that you have and what you've created, what are some of the upcoming projects that you're working on? Is there anything you'd like to share about that's upcoming or that's going on?
Yeah, absolutely. So this platform that the event is happening in is a Facebook group, and it's called Speaker Spotlight Resilience Beyond Menopause Forum. And it is where experts, experienced women are speaking on perimenopause and postmenopause, all three different stages. The diversity of experience and expertise coming together. Like I said, there's now 21 speakers, and this event, even if you're not there when it's live, it will hang for the whole month of July. And I'm actually looking at doing an event soon for self-published authors or authors who are just trying to talk about their book, kind of like what I'm doing with you now, where we'll just talk about the book and why and what inspired you to write it and things like that. Some of your guests, as they complete their book with your assistance, may have other opportunities to really get out and get promoted. Because I'm sure, as you know, you can write the book, but then getting it out where people see it, that sometimes can be challenging. And that's why I think that's a good way for, to help come together, work together, and help us all get our books seen and heard about.
Yeah, absolutely. You hit the nail on the head with that. I think to your point too, that's one of the beautiful things about being a part of events, is that it's not just, one conversation. It's a conversation with several people, and just people that are all in a community together, and that are all interested in having this conversation and learning from each other and growing together. And I just think in that regard, events are so valuable, and they're so fun. I love being a part of events, and it's definitely a wonderful opportunity. So as people are listening and they're hearing about your story, they're hearing what you've overcome, they're hearing these incredible insights that you have from your background and from this journey that you've taken, how can they ultimately connect with you and learn more about you and become involved in all these different things that you're doing?
Yeah, if they want to go to that Facebook group, then I am very active in that group. I go live a lot. that would be a good way to reach out to me. I mean, my profile is Jackie Dickens Walker on Facebook, but that Facebook group is probably a really good way to see inside of a lot of what I'm doing.
Awesome. Yeah, absolutely. And I know I have already volunteered to jump in there. I can't wait to dive in. So it's super exciting. So for all my listeners, if you would like to learn more about Jackie and become involved in her world and check out her books, I will make sure I leave all those links in the description for you. And you'll get that Facebook link also in the description. So make sure you guys check that out below the episode. And Jackie, thank you again so much for joining me on the podcast. It's been amazing to have you.
Well, thank you. It's been a treat talking with you, and I'm so glad that we met, and I look forward to working with you in the future.
Absolutely. And for all my listeners, thank you also for tuning in. I hope you enjoyed this episode. And if you did, make sure you leave a comment below, and I will see you guys on our next episode.
Bye.
Thanks so much again for tuning in to the 1 Minute Writing Tip podcast. If you would like additional resources to be able to help you in your journey of writing and publishing, and of course, achieving your long-term author goals, go to wewritebooks.com/author resources, or you can just click the author resources tab at the top of the page on wewritebooks.com, and you'll be able to find plenty of practical things that will help you to get that clarity, take those steps, get your book accomplished, and of course hit best-selling book and beyond. So make sure you check that out. Don't forget to like and comment below the episode, and I will see you on the next one.